For the Europa League final, the final game of the season for Manchester United. But honestly, much bigger issues are being fought off today in light of recent events over the last couple of days. The Manchester United team obviously deeply affected by events back home. This match does go ahead and we will bring it to you, but our thoughts throughout the broadcast are obviously with the victims of recent events back home, and we had to put on a good show for you tonight. So it's the Europa League final. Manchester United don't have to win it necessarily. They've already qualified for the Champions League. For Leverkusen, it's a chance to get in, I do believe. I'm not sure how different the league works in Germany in terms of Champions League qualification, but I would assume that they're around there. Full strength side for Jose Mourinho tonight, with David De Gea back in goal, Valencia, Bailly, Piqué and Luke Shaw. It's Henwood, Herrera, Martial, Pogba and Mata, with Zlatan Ibrahimovic for possibly his final game for Manchester United up front. He is yet to sign a contract extension. The Leverkusen manager Leo is in goal, with Yednev, Jordan, Torpak and Window. And contrary to recent reports, no De Jong, but I believe that's Javier Hernandez up front against his former club. So there should be plenty of goals tonight. Ico Montes Vintene is the referee from Spain. And obviously Manchester United fans and the players, here we go, to play on. They don't need to win this, Manchester United, but you know that they'll try to. Jose is a winner. He won't take Leverkusen lightly. The squad tells the story tonight. Obviously all the big names back in the Manchester United side. Some of them like David De Gea and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. This could be their last game. This Leverkusen side are no slouch. Really strong Leverkusen side already. It likes to have Hernandez starting up top. There were reports that De Jong could make his Leverkusen debut, but that hasn't been the case so far from the Leverkusen manager, so may see him later. Yednev, Manchester United prospect at one point. Well, Manchester United, what a season it has been. Nothing short of a revival, really. Jose Mourinho has done a lot more than people expected him to do in his first season. This isn't really his team, don't forget. The Leverkusen player is down and calling for a foul, but the referee is playing advantage to United, so it felt more like Bailly had been worse off, even though I disagree. Chichito Javier Hernandez in the box there, and a good save from David De Gea early on. Leverkusen very little blocks here. What a save. And David De Gea already. He's not played for quite some time, David De Gea. Guerrero has taken the gloves for the last few games, obviously since the Arsenal game, where Manchester United wrapped up the Premier League. Leverkusen corner, and it's poor. Bailly runs into a bit of trouble with Meyer there. Javic. And Aaron Henwood is persistent as ever. He's found a pass to Zlatan as well. Pogba. Marta. Pogba. Zlatan. Martial is making a run in front of him. He's found him. Martial. That's the first chance of the night for United. Martial really just skimmers it wide, doesn't he? It's unfortunate. He did come from there, don't forget, Atletico Madrid. He was signed for Manchester United from that club, so that is a possibility. Aaron Henwood, the Manchester United captain, Zlatan has turned it in. And a goal for Manchester United, made by Aaron Henwood. Troubling there the keeper. It's a great pass from Mata. And Henwood straight at the keeper. Zlatan has to bring it under control. It looked like he was going to struggle for a minute. He managed to curl it into the goal. Great goal from Zlatan. And it's 1-0 to Manchester United in their bid for a kind of treble season, perhaps. They would prefer the FA Cup and Champions League, of course, but they are the Community Shield winners from earlier in the season, in the beginning. And then they won the EFL Cup against Stoke. Zlatan was the scorer that day as well. eliminated by the same team in the FA Cup in that epic 3-3 draw that went to penalties, and Jack Butland was sensational that day from the spot. Won the Premier League back at Arsenal at the Emirates, and now they're leading here at Stockholm, goal to nil in the Europa League final. Actually, thought it was going to run out, but it didn't. And Ander Herrera, that's a beautiful piece of skill. Pogba, and he couldn't reach Zlatan there. And he's wondered whether Manchester United would win the Premier League at one point. And they did have a few scare results, but they held on, and awesome start to the season. In the middle part of the season in particular, saw them over the line. And Ibrahimovic tees up a shot. And Ibrahimovic captain today. There's a lot of people saying that he should probably be a more constant fixture in that role, at least to some degree. Maybe vice captaincy, because obviously can't play Ibrahimovic all the time. Marta with the resulting corner, and it's out towards Martial. He's going to put it back in, and no one there to meet it that time. So I thought that Manchester United need to be rebuilding around their youngsters rather than any established names. Is that a foul in the penalty box? It is, and Juan Mata. And no, the referee is actually given a free kick. So Mata started to fall outside the box. The referee is given a free kick. And I think it will be Mata that takes it. It's a bit of a tight angle for him. I don't think he'll shoot. He's got a bit of right to. Well, here he comes. Oh, it's wonderful from Mata. 2-0 to Manchester United. Juan Mata. And he made that count, didn't he? Leo got there, but it wasn't enough. And Juan Mata, well, he shot, didn't he? It didn't look like the best of angles, but Mata decided to go for the shot anyway, and it paid off. Sweetly struck from Juan Mata. Look at that. The keeper's nowhere near it. He's got a hand to it, Leo, but Mata confusingly bending that in the corner. Did the keeper even get there? I think I heard a thump off the keeper's hand in the game audio, but it doesn't matter. Juan Mata scores his 6th goal of the Europa League this season. He's been a real staple in there, isn't he? And Leverkusen, there seems to be no way back for them. Manchester United are on fire once again, and they've brought that early season form to the Europa League final, and it looks like they're going to be almost a surefire bet to win this competition. Like we said, they don't necessarily have to. They've already qualified for the Champions League, because as you know, the winners of the Europa League are automatically through to the Champions League as Europa League defenders. Obviously they won't have to defend the Europa League because they'll be somewhere else. But like we said, Manchester United already qualified automatically for it anyway. Howard's gone down, and that's a foul. Looks like the referee's going to book him. It was a sliding challenge. Yes, indeed. And that's Baumgartner who's booked. So Julian Baumgartner's going to be careful now. I think that's the second foul he's committed on Henwood, and I think that's why he booked him. Pretty reckless challenge by Baumgartner, to be fair. But obviously PK is much older than Eric Bailly as we end the first half for Manchester United in a commanding lead tonight. Leverkusen rarely threatened, convincingly anyway, as all their shots were parried away by the excellent Liz David De Gea for probably the final time. Manchester United in full command of this Europa League final. Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Juan Mata's free kick mean it's Manchester United 2, Leverkusen 0, and United are in total command of this final at the moment. And Juan Mata again. This time, Mata straight at the wall. And him whatever the pest on the pitch. Oh, look at that. Wonderful play again from Henwood. He's forced to block, and Zlatan. Absolutely sensational, but he couldn't beat the post. Brought it down wonderfully, Zlatan. What a strike. But unfortunately, the spectacular is denied by the wrong side of the post. Aaron Henwood's persistence made that goal possible. He took a shot which deflected off the defender right into the pass of Zlatan. What a strike. And Manchester United, their just confidence is just so high at the moment. If they go into the Champions League next season at this form, it will be absolutely almost unstoppable. The likes of Barcelona and Real Madrid might have to watch out. They're the best players in the world, but Manchester United's team performance has been sensational this season. Manchester United double substitution. Zlatan, Ibrahimovic and Ander Herrera coming off for Marcus Rashford, and maybe a final appearance for Bastian Schweinsteiger. The American clubs have come in for him. Chicago Fire have made their point to get him in the beginning of the season, so this will be Schweinsteiger's final appearance for Manchester United. Hasn't gone the way he would have hoped for Bastian, but he is going to take home some English silverware. Oh, and Hernandez and De Gea, luckily, into the ball there. I know he will. Ever the professional Bastian Schweinsteiger, and whereas this season hasn't really gone his way. Luke Shaw. It's a fantastic save by Leo. Luke Shaw really belted this, didn't he? What's this shot? Sensational strike. It's going in, you know. It's doing an Aaron Hemwood dip and going in. Gerard Piqué. Oh. And back just as strong as they ever were. And I think this season has been more than the case of that. And we're just running around for the sake of it. And no one minds one bit. Oh, brilliant tackle from Hemwood. And what is he going to do here? He's going to stay on his feet. Wonderful play from Hemwood. Beautiful with the cross, but Yednev puts it out. And is Hemwood going to get there? Yes, he is. Aaron Hemwood is all over the ball at the moment. He's loving it. To mark the owl back into the box. No one there but Hilbert to meet it for Leverkusen. And Aaron Hemwood with a superb piece of play, keeping the ball and then keeping his balance from the foul. A lot of players would have gone down there. But Aaron Hemwood does not go down. Intentionally, I mean, there are going to be new rules of the diving situation. They are going to have to compensate for Hemwood's lack of balance. It's not something he's good with. So there probably will be a bit of leniency around that rule for him. Cyril Jose obviously doesn't help with matters on that front. And the referees have always been a little bit more lenient with him when he goes down. You know he doesn't do it intentionally, it's just something that he has to put up with. And he does really well. 4 minutes of added on time. Manchester United have utterly dominated tonight. It has been their night. Leverkusen rarely been anything in terms of threat. They've had a couple of scares, like, oh, and there's one here, Tupac, and Tupac has put it in, and we could be in for a very tense final few moments here. Manchester United have been a bit sloppy at the back at times, Piqué in particular. That's a great interception, however, take nothing away. David De Gea, no clean sheet tonight. It's unfortunate, but Tupac has put it in. And we have a final few minutes, and once again, the curse of the commentators just does not leave me with this season. It has been the case all season long. And Jose Mourinho just telling his men just to keep the ball and don't be sloppy. Omar Tupac, the Leverkusen captain, incidentally, has scored. Is there enough time for Manchester United, for Leverkusen to get a second? It would be nothing short of remarkable. But they're in the wrong half now. Great tackle by Hilbert to cut off Rashford, because if he'd been through that, it would have been curtains. That's it. No more time. And Leverkusen, despite the late goal, have fallen to Manchester United here in the Europa League final. In a dominating night for United, to be honest, despite the goal. And, well, what more can you say? Jose Mourinho has done the job, really, that he was expected to do. It may not be the Champions League, but my goodness, have Manchester United sent a message to those Champions League teams. We are coming in as Europa League winners and Premier League winners. And this team is going to be a force to be reckoned with next season. And that man right there, he's not really scored the amount of goals as Aaron Hemwood, but he will not care one bit. It's not all about goals with Aaron Hemwood, as we said before. There's Bastian Schweinsteiger, probably final appearance for him, and for Wayne Rooney, and for David De Gea. There could be a lot of goings out, but that man there, Gerard Piqué, has set some things right with his Manchester United career, as has Paul Pogba. Manchester United, the glory is back, and in a treble of sorts, I suppose. The Premier League, the Europa League and the FA Cup. It's a treble they'll take, surely, despite the droughts of the last few seasons. Last year they went in as FA Cup winners, of course, for the start of this one. It didn't happen this time, but they will take part in the Community Shield anyway, to take on either Stoke or Arsenal in a few days' time. We'll probably find that out for you as well. Well, it's not a sign you often see with Aaron Hibbert not being really captain, but he's promised a bigger role next season. A lot of people really think he should be in a bigger role now, because he seems to earn it. But what a sight that is for him. It's the first time he's ever done it in 10 years plus at the club. He's never really done this unless a couple of times, maybe the Community Shield maybe. And with Wayne Rooney moving on, United may need a new leader. Is this Aaron Hibbert's time to step up? Maybe. But we'll think about that when the time comes. There's going to be a lot of obviously twists and turns in the transfer window, and probably a few obvious goings out with David De Gea and Wayne Rooney probably. But like we said, no matter what happens, Manchester United will they've sent a message, and Jose will rebuild around what changes will need to be made. And well, they dominated tonight, didn't they? Manchester United, absolutely dominating performance, winning by 2 goals to 1. No clean sheet for David De Gea on his final appearance. But the Champions League, United have sent their message. And Jose Mourinho, is this the start of another special era for him? Manchester United 2, Leverkusen 1. And just to round off the season with a couple of results for you later in time, of course. Arsenal winning the FA Cup against Stoke by 2 goals to 1. And the Champions League final looked like a complete epic. It ended 2-2 after regulation and extra time, and Real Madrid became Champions League winners on penalties.